length possible, the signature, and maybe some other questions that we might have that we can get to real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, for folks who don't know me, my name's Chris Rogers. I'm the new assembly member for the North Coast. Our district goes from Sonoma County to Oregon. So it's Sonoma, Mendocino, Humboldt, Del Norte, and Trinity counties. It's the third largest assembly district in the state of California, and I think the most beautiful and the most interesting. A couple of folks from my team are on as well. Scott Alonso, our district director, and Heidi McHugh. Heidi is our Humboldt person. Some of you might know her from some of her previous work in the county, and we've loved having her on board for this year. I'll be really brief and just provide a really quick high-level overview, and then I'm happy to get into questions and answer things that folks might have. But this was our first legislative session where we were able to really focus in on local district issues, a lot of Caltrans work. One of the things that we wanted to focus on was making sure that areas of our community that felt underrepresented in Sacramento really got a lot of direct attention. So we did bills specifically for Humboldt County, specifically for Crescent City, for Duncan's Mills, for Hopland, places that typically didn't get a lot of attention. And a lot of those bills are sitting on the governor's desk right now. We actually have 10 of them that we sent to him this year. One has been signed so far, and that was a bill that we did specifically for the tributaries to the Klamath to continue to protect and preserve the work that's being done there to return fish populations, endangered salmon, but really also, as many of you might know, the last time water rights were adjudicated on the Klamath truly were back in the early 1900s. And at that point, tribal voices were not considered people. And so what we did this year was we made sure that we maintained commitment to those voices and found balance between the water usage for our tribal community, for our fishermen, and for our farmers. And that'll continue for the next 5 years while the state promulgates permanent long-term regulations. But that was the first bill that we introduced, and we thought that it was a really important one to sort of signal to the community some of my values and some of the things that we're interested in working on. And that's environmental and conservation, but that it's also obviously recognizing indigenous voices and helping to correct errors that have been made in the past. That largely dictated our bill package this year. I tell everybody I got into politics for 4 reasons and continue to fight for 4 things above all else. And that's addressing poverty, addressing climate change, focusing on kids, and on health. And those are the 4 big issues that really drive a lot of the concerns that we see in Northern California. This year, there was the added wrinkle of addressing what we were seeing come out of the White House, where, quite frankly, California has been a target of the federal government, and how best to strengthen our support networks throughout California and support targeted communities, whether it's our LGBTQ, our BIPOC communities, and strengthen that social safety net for folks. So some of the budget issues that we were able to do this year that I know was of particular importance for the Human Rights Commission is we really strengthened and bolstered our SNAP programs to make sure that folks have access to food, particularly for kids. We actually also passed a piece of legislation this year to remove super processed foods from schools and really make sure that kids have access to healthy, nutritious meals. We did a whole package of bills, and I was proud to co-author some of them related towards the ICE immigration raids that we have been seeing throughout California. So as a co-author on the bill to make it so that law enforcement can't wear masks and must show their badges and identify themselves for folks, not just because it's the right thing to do, but also because we are seeing things happen across the state where vigilantes are now getting involved and people are confusing who's real law enforcement and who isn't. And we know how much that's eroded trust within our own local public police departments and sheriff's offices as well with the immigrant community. We passed a bill to make it so that ICE can't enter sensitive areas without a valid warrant, such as emergency rooms, hospitals, schools, and we passed a piece of legislation. All of those have been signed by the governor, by the way, so far. But we also passed a bill that we're waiting for the governor to sign that assists and makes it easier for families when a parent is picked up by ICE, and how the courts can allow for a friend or a family member that we plan for to be able to represent the child in the legal system and accessing services for them as well. So a lot of work's been going into that. We can talk about all of that. We can talk about offshore wind. We can talk about reforms to the investor-owned utility model and PG&E, gas prices. There was no shortage of issues. And I'll just stop and say this, that we've just really appreciated and relied on our partnerships that we have with our local communities. It is impossible to represent this district and 500,000 people without being able to have these personal conversations, these one-on-ones. We've actually done 12 town halls now throughout our entire district. We'll continue to do more throughout the year, but it's a way that we've really been able to stay connected to folks. And just want to thank you for taking the time to invite us on to hear a little bit about what we're working on. And then, as I said, happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions?
I have a question. One of the things that we're concerned about is the Brown Act and our very widespread county that doesn't allow us to have Zoom members. They can be on twice a year, but they can't, when they're on Zoom, they can't vote and they can't count for the quorum. So that basically says they can't be a member if they're doing that. And we would like to see something done about that so that we would be able to have members from all over our widespread county who would be able to participate on Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. So somebody, I think at the beginning, mentioned SB 707, which was a bill that did pass and is sitting on the governor's desk. I'll be honest, I did not support the bill. Partially because of my experience from a local government perspective, where I too agree and trying to make sure that folks have access, especially in rural areas, to be able to be part of their community. But the bill came with a number of restrictions without any additional funding. And when I was on the city council in Santa Rosa, I wrote and we implemented what's called the Open Government Ordinance that had many of the components of what SB 707 has: mandatory translation requirements, mandatory Zoom capabilities. But what it didn't have, what 707 didn't have, was addressing some of the many challenges that we ran into without giving folks tools. One in particular was the ability for people to Zoom bomb meetings. We had that happen in Santa Rosa a number of times, in the county of Sonoma a number of times, and we heard about this throughout all of California, where people would join these meetings, get in their public comment, and just start spewing the most hateful comments that you could find from folks. And there were no tools that were given to equip our locals, especially in our area where folks have fewer resources to be able to address that issue. And also, implementation in Santa Rosa alone was about $500,000 a year to be able to do compliance. And with no additional resources from the state, I did have a lot of concerns about how we do that in a mandatory model for groups like the Human Rights Commission. I do think that it's a good thing. I think we need to figure out a compromise to be able to get there. And maybe the governor ends up signing SB 707 and we just come back later and figure out how to give you the tools to do it. But we've certainly seen the value of Zoom participation for folks, but that comes at a cost where there are some challenges that you'll need to deal with if you do have full-fledged Zoom meetings. And that bill did not call for just commissioners or elected officials being able to participate via Zoom. It continues the tradition that if you have elected officials, even one, who is on Zoom, that the public also has the ability to Zoom in. Again, not a bad thing. It opens up access for folks, but it does have some parameters that need to be built around it and policies.
Is there a likelihood that some follow-up legislation may be introduced to address some of the financial questions you raised?
I think not until you all have to implement and start to make noise about that, to be very candid. There's already a requirement in the state's constitution that the state government reimburses local governments for implementation costs and unfunded mandates that are passed down. I think your council can shake their head and laugh because that never actually happens, right? And we actually have seen that that challenge arise in local jurisdictions. I think especially the way that this bill was a long time coming, where they've been working on trying to find a compromise that worked since about 2022, when some of this was really starting to go away with pandemic restrictions being lifted. I think that there was just an interest in getting something in place as a shell or as a framework to work with. But I really think that you'll all have to be vocal with the legislature and provide us with data for conversations about how best you'll need to be supported in implementation. Again, assuming that the governor signs the bill and that it's put into law. I will say I had a bit of a different frame than many of my colleagues, just from my perspective of having written an open government ordinance and then having to implement it. And so I don't think until you start to feel that pinch or start to be able to articulate the full extent of the concerns, I don't know that there will be a majority of the legislature that's interested in tweaking with it in the first few years.
I can say as a sidebar, we're very familiar with Zoom bombing, unfortunately. Are there other questions on this topic?
No, this one, but it's no.
Okay, go ahead.
You mentioned the health question. One of the things that's been talked about in the assembly, I guess, for quite a while is AB 2200, the single payer.
Yep.
Do you know anything how that is progressing? Because I know it seems like it keeps getting stalled over the last 12 months at least, and I think it's been going on for longer than that.
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in single payer healthcare. For folks who don't know me, my wife is actually a nurse. She's on shift right now, and to boot, she was born and raised in Scotland, and her mom still lives there. Her mom actually moved back there because she was concerned that if she got sick, she'd end up bankrupt, and so she moved back. I think that it's in the United States, we're paying the most for healthcare for worse care than many other first world nations. So I'm a big supporter. And I want to start there. And what I also know is that with the Trump administration right now, they are more interested in kicking people off of healthcare than they are in implementing a single payer system. For California to be able to move forward, we'd need to have a waiver from the federal government. There's no way we're going to obtain that waiver at this moment. So a lot of what we're trying to do is figure out how to put Band-Aids on a broken system until we have a more friendly administration. One of the bills that I introduced this year and that we ran was specifically to support our clinic system up on the coast. There's a federal discount drug program that reinvests in our clinics that the pharmaceutical industry has been putting restrictions on since 2022. That's real dollars that are being taken out of the care system in areas that desperately need those dollars. And one of the restrictions that they've been doing is saying that to do this discount drug program, you can only select one pharmacy to administer the drugs for an entire clinic system. So we worked very closely with Open Door, who obviously covers Humboldt and Del Norte County. But if a pharmaceutical company said that you could only do this program in Del Norte County, folks from Humboldt aren't going to drive up there just to access this program. So we took on the pharmaceutical industry this year to try to remove those restrictions. They are the largest spender in campaigns. They're the largest spender on lobbying across the nation. And it certainly has been a fight. That's a 2-year bill we're going to continue on next year. We weren't able to quite get it there. But I keep asking my colleagues and I keep asking the governor's office, you expect to see 15 million people in this country kicked off of their health care as soon as when this big, beautiful bill, H.R. 1, is implemented, maybe even sooner if this shutdown and these fights continue to happen. So what is your response for being able to fund healthcare in California? We will have one bill that'll probably be introduced early next year that we are collectively kind of calling the McTax. What happens for many big corporations in California, like McDonald's and like Walmart, is they don't provide health care for their employees. Instead, what they do is on their new hire date, they slide them a piece of paper on how to sign up for Medi-Cal. So they're automatically pushing people onto the social safety net, which is already fragile to begin with. So the McTax concept would be that these employers would have to start paying a stipend for the amount of employees that they have on social health care programs to try to bolster the system. But absent holistic reform, Medi-Cal is about $800 billion. It's about a third of the state budget. It is the biggest concern that we have. And I tell people all the time, especially in our communities, even if you have health insurance, if you don't have health access, that you still have those challenges. And the more people that lose their health care whether it's immigrants, undocumented folks, a mom and pop that happen to not be able to afford Obamacare anymore. That all impacts our ability to access care, because then there's fewer people who are utilizing or keeping our hospitals and our clinics and our specialists open. So it's a huge issue. But I don't have any good news for you on the implementation of single payer. The federal government's just not going to let us get there right now. But that there's an opportunity for us to organize when the hopefully next president comes in, for us to be able to do something significant.
If we could ask you one additional question, I think you're probably almost out of time. Humboldt County, and along with several cities in the county, is a sanctuary county.
Yep.
The Human Rights Commission was instrumental in making that happen long before a lot of other entities joined it. I'm wondering if you have any new information that would give a confidence that that sanctuary status will hold up in any way, because Humboldt County doesn't have all the resources that Los Angeles or other big cities do to try to protect their situation. Can you address that?
Yeah, I think I'll start there with, if Humboldt is attacked for it, I don't think it'd be his first choice. I think that there will be other jurisdictions that'll be able to stand with Humboldt County and do sort of class action around it. I think that his target's going to be Los Angeles County, quite frankly. And your sanctuary status is up to the county of Humboldt. SB 54 is sort of the state version that governs the interactions between law enforcement and ICE immigration. And I can tell you, just based on the sentiment and the temperament of the Democratic caucus in Sacramento, there is no interest in removing SB 54. If anything, members are dug in and are willing to stand up and talk about not just the impact that it has on the individual's life when there's immigration enforcement that happens, but also the impact that it has on our community. And the way that sanctuary county status, or the sanctuary city status for folks, actually strengthens the relationship between law enforcement and the immigrants that they serve, and that the ICE enforcement is doing harm. Again, I come at this from kind of a different perspective than some, because my wife is an immigrant and she is a birthright citizen. And so maybe I've got rose-colored glasses on it. But what I have seen from my colleagues in Sacramento, what I've seen from the governor, is a willingness to fight. And so Humboldt County won't be on their own in that fight.
Thank you. Any other questions from commissioners? Well, Mr. Rogers, is there any last comment you'd like to make before we cut you loose?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, just thank you for the time. I know how long these meetings can get, and thank you for your service. The other is don't be a stranger. As I mentioned, Heidi is on the ground in Humboldt every single day. I'm up there about every other week or so, meeting with folks and helping to represent the community. And we can't do this without your partnership and without your participation. So if you ever have something or see something that you either want to make sure is on our radar, if you have any bill ideas, or if you're having any issues or concerns with any of the state's bureaucracy, just give us a call. We're always happy to help, and we're here to serve.
Thank you very much for being here tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, at this point, we'll go back to our normal agenda, and I'll ask if there are any adjustments to the agenda to the meeting.
Well, I don't know if it's an adjustment, but the dates for the call line, I'm on October 16th through 31st. And
I just was insisting on getting that wrong.
I know, it's okay. I mean, I'd love to do it, but I
changed my copy. Or no, I did.
What are you, the 16th?
I'm the 16th of all.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie too.
Okay. The next item on the agenda would be the approval of meeting minutes for September 4th. Be kind, I was Hold on a minute. Yes.
Just like to spell Gurneyville correctly, under emails, regular mail, commissioner announcements. It's Gurneville.
E in there, okay,
Gurnene.
right.
Okay, and also on the last page, under, constructive conversations, there's $200 was an approved expenditure. And then there was a $200 approved expenditure for the outreach, and did we do two? Or was that really the same thing?
I believe it was the same thing.
So that sentence, the last sentence under constructive conversations should be crossed out. $200 was an approved expenditure.
Right. Okay, thank you very much. Any other corrections to the minutes?
Well, I move that the minutes be approved and then we can take public comment.
Right, it's been moved. Is there a second to approve?
I'll second.
Aye. Okay,
Got it.
have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. They are approved unanimously. Okay, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report. Carol?
So I didn't have the opportunity to get the report from the bank. However, they received from Rick an envelope. And I gave it to Jim, and Jim's got a few items to deposit, correct?
Yeah, I have 2 checks to deposit for the conversations workshop, as well as a grant check from the Humboldt Area Foundation and Bird's family. And I think that's the only change that will take place in there. Okay. Under regular mail, I didn't have anything other than those checks. Commissioner comments. Are there any announcements or commissioner comments from anybody in the group? Guy?
We already, someone Rogers already talked about SB 707, and I just wanted to add, I did send that update to everybody. I'm not totally clear on, I mean, I read it already twice, and it's so full of legalese. I'm going, I'm still not clear, because supposedly it means we can maybe do what we want to do, but I'm not sure. One of the criticisms, if you did get a chance to look at it, they were talking about incurring new costs. He mentioned, he didn't seem to be concerned about translation services, but that seems to be a big issue in our county. He seemed to be more concerned about other things in it, and I really didn't see that as being too much of a deal, because again, what I did read in AB 707 was that the population base to necessitate that has to be over 20% of a special group. And I'm not sure that would be applicable. Not that I wouldn't want that to be done anyway, because we still have a sizable group of people in our county that need a translation services regardless. But be that as it may, I'm not real clear on that. And of course, as you mentioned, it's on the governor's desk. I don't know whether he's going to sign it or not. He's got I think 10 more days or something like that to make a decision. So that's one comment on it. The other thing I was just going to mention was just kind of an announcement, and that's that I did Guilford. They have band book week over at Cal Poly Humboldt next week. So if any of you are interested, they're going to have a series of activities. I know that I'm planning. I haven't received my time yet, but I'm planning to read a paragraph from one of my boring books that was banned back in 1949. So we'll see how that one plays out. All right.
May I ask again, what was it called?
Oh, the book, it's Stillwell's Papers. General Joseph Stillwell was our general in the Eastern, I should say in the Asian theater of World War II. He was actually known affectionately as Vinegar Joe. because apparently he was pretty, I guess, outspoken, and I guess could be a little bit like our state senator McGuire with some of the expletives in his thinking. But what got the book banned, which I thought was rather interesting, is the book came out 3 years after he died. He was still was a casualty of the bikini tests, the atomic tests. He was irradiated, came down with leukemia within a year and died as a result of it. But his diaries were published in 1949, and unfortunately, when he was in the Asian theater, he had to work alongside Chiang Kai-shek, who he did not like at all. Matter of fact, he rather preferred working with the communist forces who actually fought. And as a result, as we were moving towards a clash in Korea, which would occur shortly after the book was published, they didn't like his language in there, especially the fact that he referred to Chiang Kai-shek as a peanut. So just so you know today, where you have to be rather careful, I've discovered that myself, of what you can say in public and what you can't say in public. I thought it was kind of interesting that his book was banned in 49, and unusually so. The FBI went to bookstores demanding names of people who purchased the book and went to those houses to demand the book back. So kind of so I guess maybe we should be gratified. Haven't reached that point right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the key word. Anyway,
So my comment to your banned books, I am purchasing books now that I believe that might be banned regarding the American Indians. You know, the history and the trying to kill off all the Indians. And so, and those stories that natives have done the research. And it's like one that that's out now is The Fire We Carry, about the Trail of Tears, and the information in the documentation that she put in that book. There's several books like that, but that history.
History does repeat itself, doesn't it? Okay, any other commissioner comments?
Well, I would just like to kind of follow up on the one here, and that's that Bird received a commendation from the Board of Supervisors, certainly for her work on the Human Rights Commission, but that's just a small part of a much, much larger set of contributions she's made over the years. And we were so pleased and proud to see her up there. And she is just a marvelous representative, I think, just of the county. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you,
Congratulations.
Jim, for what you wrote about it. That was very, very nice. Thank you.
and I'll add that without your permission, I put a picture I took of you on Facebook, and it's getting the largest number of likes.
Put up, and I was struggling to share that, and I couldn't bring it up.
Well, I did send it to everybody.
It's there somewhere.
I sent it. I just sent
I
a picture.
did see it, but
Yeah. Well,
and
Weird stuff.
hearing about people that I had no idea, and I guess that's where they saw it. Thank you.
We have, like I said, we have about 1,000 followers. I mean, I don't know how often they actually look at it, because it's not the exciting stuff. That's why our reels are boring.
I'm going to miss that. Good here. Okay. I do have one additional comment, kind of in the same vein. I was fortunate enough to attend a gathering this week, and in light of the mood of the country and the county and the negativity that we're all experiencing, I just wanted to share that this organization known as Sandy in Honduras is helping children there with club feet, club palates, and cleft lips. And it was refreshing to see that, yes, people do still help each other, despite a lot of reasons not to care. And I think that underlines the purpose of this commission. We can't always help in big ways, but in little ways we can, and every one of those counts.
Maybe just to add too, Bert has played a very central role in helping to kind of ground Humboldt County in, in understanding, learning about this project, and hopefully also in contributing some to it. And you've done that for a number of years now.
Yes, well, because I visited Sandy when she was in the Peace Corps in 1998, when it really started. So if you want to know more about it, let me know. I can tell you lots and lots about it. Sandy and I go back 84 years to preschool when we met.
Wow. Oh, that's cool.
That's a record in itself.
Well, and you can Google Sandy in Honduras and come up with a lot of information.
And there are videos and things, and what Jim was referring to is we had several parties this week. Just one of the things I've been dealing with this week, but Juliet, who is 17 years old, is fluent in English, and she is the beginning of Sandy's succession plan to have the Hondurans really taking over everything she's doing, but meeting the people here who have done the funding. Really, that's funding has come from this country, and so that's what we've been doing. And she is a delightful young woman. And next year when she comes, I hope you'll all come to the party, meet her.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment on non-agenda items.
Can I maybe just do a couple of things? First of all,
Yeah.
with your permission, just to also let us all know that you are planning to get married.
Yes,
Oh, congratulations.
I thought I only had one in me, but I guess I've got another one.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Yeah.
That'll be happening that's this month. That's why the October 12th date that was discussed wasn't gonna work for me.
If I can also maybe follow up, you had mentioned that there were some potential applicants. Can you tell us the status for the commission on where that stands?
I was told by Tracy, the clerk of the board, that there were at least two that had expressed interest,
Okay.
and she was going to be presenting something to the Board of Supervisors. I don't know where that stands at the
Okay.
moment. Katerina, next from the CAO's office next door, when she was leaving this evening, she asked if we had any openings, and I said, yes, we do. And she said she would work on an updated press release promoting that.
Great.
So hopefully we'll have activity there pretty soon. And just so everybody's kept aware, Larry is still recuperating. I do, at this point, still expect him to return in a few months.
Mhm. Good.
Okay. Now, on the subject of public comment, I don't see anybody online or in the room on non-agenda items, so we'll move on to the correctional facilities report, which I am filling in for Larry. This will be duplicated by Carol's report, but have an appointment with an inmate on Monday. I have met with him before. He is a frequent caller, and you've received calls from him as well. And I'm not sure if there's anything new that I'm going to learn, but I thought I would tell him that if we can help him, we will, but otherwise there's not much point keep calling us back for no good value. But that's all the activity I've had that way. On the message line report, Guy had September 1st through the 15th.
I think you've already covered.
Have I covered it?
It was fairly quiet, other than I think, I had one unit that left no number, so I couldn't call back. When I called back, I left a message and, asked them to call the message line again to leave a good time to get in touch with them, and that never happened. and the gentleman that you're talking about, who is a frequent flyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. And September 16th through the 30th, Farrah?
So, Jim, thank you for taking those.
Sure. We have to cover each other's back.
There were 4 from the same gentleman that he's going to have an appointment with.
Okay. And I'm on the phones right now. Jamie is on October 16th through the 31st. And we could use 2 volunteers for the 1st of November and the 16th of November. Anybody have some time?
I'll do the 16th to the 30th.
Okay. Anybody available for the,
I'll do the 1st to the 15th.
okay, thank you, guys.
Jim, in the spirit of covering backs, I actually can start on the 9th if you want,
Oh,
to give you some free time,
that's all right.
because I'm getting through my son's getting married, so
Oh, that's
probably done. But if you'd like me to cover early,
If we get to that point,
tag me in.
that's needed, I'll call you. Thank you. All right. Now, under committee reports, the first committee is the Sanctuary Ordinance Committee. Guys, is there anything to report?
The only thing I have to report is really just kind of an advertisement, and there's a celebration of Latino Heritage Month. It's occurring actually tomorrow. So it's kind of late news, but 6 p.m. at the D Street in Arcata. There's food, entertainment, just good times, and it's free.
It was 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yeah, tomorrow, and it's free. So
In Arcata?
yeah, D Street. It's just right across when you come onto the campus over there. It's just on the other side of the campus. It's where the mural for Josiah is painted as the D Street building there. So
There's been no activity on the Rapid Response Committee for media, excuse me, for media releases. And the next report would be the I'm sorry,
I was gonna ask a question.
sure.
Have we had any activity regarding, remember the Arcata garden? That had to do
oh, you mean as far as anything, at least according to Arcata PD, there's been no problem. Or I think the only thing they've had, unfortunately, it hasn't been directed at the garden. It has to do with apparently a stalker they've had over there. And I have a feeling it may be the same guy they just arrested now twice, who disrupted the Arcata City Hall meeting. And I guess last night took refuge in the Samoa building that campus has, broke in over there, set off the alarm, and they had a stakeout. The cops were there for 8 or 10 hours before they finally arrested him. So it seems to be kind of a running thing. So.
And then my other question was, we know there's an uptick on inhaling nitrous oxide and the selling of that in the smoke shops. They can sell them in big containers, little containers, and there's been a notice with the Humboldt County that they're finding the containers all over and the damage that is being done if it's used continually. And I
You
thought,
talked about the nitric oxide. Yeah.
and I thought maybe it would be good to invite someone from the county to educate us on
Invite who?
Humboldt County
Health Department?
Public Health Department.
Go ahead, Billy. Sure.
So, my daughter's in that addiction right now badly, and it's not only the, I'm sorry, the,
Nitrous oxide.
nitrous oxide. They're selling these cans of this dust off, okay, and it's basically what it is, it's computer keyboard cleaner, aerosol,
Yes.
and the kids are inhaling it. And my daughters are addicted to it. I mean, my 20-year-old daughter is in and out of the hospital 3 times a week because of this stuff. It sends her into grand mal seizures. And I've tried it's readily available. You can go to the Dollar General, any place, anywhere. Walmart has big stacks of it that's out in the open, not locked up, but they'll lock up the socks and the underwear. It's maddening to me because I'm watching my daughter kill herself. Basically, I've taught people that lost their vision. They've been crippled, paralyzed from the waist down because nobody really knows what these chemicals, what it's doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would, oh my God, I would love to push something like that. I mean, because I'm watching my kids just destroy their lives and it's killing me, you know?
And the reason I'm also bringing it up is because I was hoping that once we had the presentation, that the commission would write a letter to the Board of Supervisors to say not to sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their thing is like, oh, well, we don't sell it to anyone under 21 or 18 or something. So they just go get somebody else who is, and they buy it anyway. You know, we all know that. I mean, when we were all kids, we probably bought, hey, will you buy me a 6-pack? You know, but it's like, it's gotten to the point with these chemicals that it's maddening. And I mean, I just lay awake at night, I don't even know what to do. Waiting for that call to come in. Your daughter's in the emergency room, unresponsive.
Yeah, well, we will try to get a guest speaker on that subject to better educate all of us.
Yeah, I thought it was banned in Arcata though. I thought city council would have banned the sale of it in Arcata. I mean, not that, it make much difference because you go to Eureka or McKinleyville, but that there was discussion on that back more than a month ago. So
Let's get the county to do it.
yeah.
But we'll check into that. Okay, the next committee report would be the Youth Human Rights Commission Committee.
Yeah,
And
we've had a couple meetings, in the last month, 2 meetings. We have 3 commissioners currently. Unfortunately, they all represent Southern Humboldt, so we need to get a little bit more diverse. So, we've been in a partnership with the Social Work and Addiction Studies program at College of the Redwoods, and have 3 students who are working with the youth commissioners to really focus on recruitment and outreach materials. So focusing on putting together a recruitment and outreach packet, getting the website and the social media platforms up to date and running. And then Billy's been taking the lead on calling the schools and identifying, we're going to call all the high schools in the county and ask them to commit a person who would be a champion for the youth commission, who would help us with recruitment and educating and provide an opportunity for the commission to go and talk. So do you want anything to add?
And an adult that they had, I think we talked about somebody that would be like their peer or something, or what, that maybe they both go in together with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got all the high schools in all of Humboldt County, the ones that I could find the names of the principals and vice principals. I tracked those. And I'm just going to start hitting them hard, calling them, and saying, hey, look, it's a really good program.
So we're hoping that we'll get an adult at each school who's going to stay there.
Yeah.
And then they'll select a youth champion.
Right.
To
And it'll
take them.
continue.
So
what is your plan for your next meeting? Did you have a meeting last night?
there was a meeting last night. I was not able to
I
attend.
wasn't either.
I tried to log on and I didn't have anybody join me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I was not able to attend, but I'll give you an update on that.
Okay.
After I meet with the students,
Yeah.
our students, I'm sure I'll get an update.
The plumber showed up right as I was getting ready to start, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I had a
Everybody by the hour.
previous commitment. The goal of last night's meeting though was to set the regular meeting dates. So they're gonna aim for 1 a month in person and 1 a month on Zoom. So as soon as I get that information, I'll share that with everybody.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Great.
Okay. Well, I know it's been difficult to get this rolling, but I still have a lot of belief that it would be a good project.
Yeah, we have good youth involvement of the folks who are there. Solid people. And then I really think the capacity building from partnering with College of the Redwoods has been helpful. Because you have students who need to do service hours or their degree or their class, and there's only one, this committee. I think Bird's on like 90 committees. There's so much we can do.
You
So,
believe last 2 weeks.
yeah, I see your name on everything, Bert.
Every single thing I had anything to do,
You work
decided to have something this week.
work hard. So this I think is gonna be a good end to like, and there's a plan with one of the classes at College of the Redwoods to make this an ongoing, so we'll have new students in the spring. And then every year we'll have that piece, so it's been good.
Yeah, and I just add that, so we're working on the website, we're working on flyers, we're working on pins. I think you said they wanted to talk about putting out
Yeah.
pins and stickers, so we're doing that.
They want to table it a bit.
Yeah, and if I can, that's what I'm also gonna ask, when I talk to the principals of these schools, if you can do a presentation there to see who would maybe be interested in getting involved with it. And we'll just see what happens, but they've got a lot of ideas. It's really cool.
Yeah, they're doing good.
Well, we welcome you to come back and visit with us again, and keep
Thank
us
you.
up to date on what's happening
Yeah,
along with Jamie.
Oh, absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been good.
All right. Next item is cultural awareness of Indigenous people.
So I was gonna ask you to resend those 2 draft letters.
Resend it?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just, and right now, most of the tribes, the local tribes are having their elections right now.
You need the cover letter as well?
Yes.
Well, you need both. Okay.
So trying to figure out who to address it to yet. And
All right, I'll get that to you tomorrow.
we're in that process.
Okay. Technology, Facebook, you're getting some activity though?
Yeah, so
Okay. And by the way, everybody feel free to, if you see something that you think connects with the Human Rights Commission, either forward it to me or forward it directly to Guy, and he can add it to the Facebook page. And that kind of activity helps to show other people that we're working for them too. And the next committee is constructive conversations. Rick.
Okay, well, we are having a constructive conversations workshop on October 22nd at the Humboldt Area Foundation and at the offices there. It is, I think, we've got just for review, we've got Natalie Arroyo who's a Humboldt County Supervisor. We've got Robert Black, who's the city attorney for the city of Eureka. We've got Amy Nilsson, who's the city manager for Fortuna. You can see the wonderful flyer up on the screen. Sarah Schaefer, who's a council member for the city of Arcata, talking about how can we communicate on really challenging, difficult issues. At this point, we are still hoping to get a stronger registration. I think we've got about 11 or so that have come in. I think the media has been informed though, so that they have all been out there. I think we're basically moving ahead. Hopefully we'll have as good of a turnout as possible, but everything is pretty much in order. I think we're pretty much planning and the plans are made.
And your support and stimulation of people that you may be acquainted with, if they would be interested in attending, please encourage them to go to this is on the Facebook page, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
I believe
They can get the registration form from.
yeah, I waited because I got one tonight and then I was told to wait because we had an update on it. So the updated one should be on.
Good.
Okay,
Great.
good. Great, thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rick.
It's actually Humboldt Area Foundation Community Center. It's not their offices, which is in a different building. So
Okay.
it's their community room, community center.
Okay, but it's adjacent, or it's in the same area, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the one, if you go on Indianola Road, it says community center.
Okay.
Humboldt Dairy Foundation. That's the one you want to go to.
Okay.
Okay.
And the road should be fixed by then too.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah,
no, I doubt it very much.
maybe at this weekend.
Oh, well, maybe so. We can.
Keep our fingers crossed.
But so far you have to go home on Myrtle Avenue.
Okay. Next item is community outreach and engagement. Peter isn't here this evening. Do you have any information?
Anything, no.
Okay,
If I did, I missed it. I'm sorry.
all right. Let me forgive you this time.
Okay, let me just confirm, cultural center, you said.
Community.
Community center, okay, thank you.
It's a community room. It's available to the community to use.
Okay, next report would be homelessness and behavioral health. Guys, or anything?
The only way out is what you sent out. We were CC'd a copy of a letter, I guess, that was addressed to the board and just about everybody in Humboldt County.
Yeah,
And I assumed, like I had mentioned to you, that it's regarding our Trinidad housing track over there that I guess the county has been fighting the last 20 years on. It's an interesting article. I mean, I think it's, whoever wrote it is well written. I'm kind of concerned when they don't want to sign their name.
Yeah, that was a big concern.
Yeah, because I know, having worked in the public sphere for a long time, I know whenever we get complaints, if they're not signed, they go nowhere because, you gotta, give me some idea where you're getting your information, not just spouting off on it. But like I said, they do bring up some interesting concerns, and I do know, this will be something again we're going to have to touch on is that we're coming into another winter season here very shortly, and as I told you, I think at our last meeting, I know that the city of Eureka certainly moved a lot of people out of the downtown area, the Old Town area, because that was crowded with tents, and suddenly they were all gone. And I don't know, I haven't been back there in a few days to see how many are maybe slowly going back to it or not. But it is a concern that, rainy season, we've already got a example of what's likely to be coming. And then the whole season. So, according to Betty Chin, we have 2,000 people that are out on the streets. And I know she's doing a good job addressing a small number, but we're talking 2-4% of what's out there. And that letter we got did mention that, yes, there are people out there that, you can offer as much as you want and they're not going to take it. I appreciate that, but there are a lot of people out there that if there was some kind of facilities out there, but like listening to some women Rogers today, and I didn't want to be negative. I'm very happy that he came and everything, and I know he's brand new, so you can't dump on him. But yes, the budget's lousy. We're having a problem with the federal government. Problem of it is, a lot of these things have been going on for years and years. I think I sent everybody that article on the fiasco with the healthcare, that even with the Democrats in full control, with the Biden administration, they actually promised some money. They still didn't pass legislation dealing with healthcare. That's why when he said, we have an excuse now that we have a federal government that is not supporting it, but we have supposedly got that support and they did nothing. So rather concerned with that.
Sure. Have we heard anything from the Board of Supervisors regarding our letter to them about homelessness?
No. The only response I got was I asked Mike Wilson. He wasn't sure he was familiar with it, so I sent it again to him, but I don't think they've done it. So
Sounds like they probably won't.
Sometimes all I would imagine, and even the one that we did with the Brown Act, again, if you guys did look at the the response from Wilson, and that was most interesting to me. If you guys didn't bother to look at it, the thing that kind of struck me on it, I don't know if I can find it real quickly over there, because I see it on the document I made, but there's a link on there to their lobbyists. And I wasn't, yeah, I mean, I know they have lobbyists and everything, but I wasn't real familiar. And I thought, wow, they're tied in, and these guys are lobbying the entire state and very actively doing this. And I'm thinking, this is really, really scary stuff, because you're thinking that we're dealing with our local supervisors and we can have this big impact, but then they turn around and give it to their lobbyist, and their lobbyist says, well, we give it kind of a zero. We won't give it a positive or a negative. We'll give it a zero. So I mean, that's what he had. To the end, it says that they said currently it's on the desk. However, it's not all good. And then it says, so well, the CSAC supported it. League of Cities opposed, we remain neutral. And that's what caught my attention. We remain neutral. I said, who the hell are we? And yet they're having this impact. And so our board sits quietly saying nothing. And then when we talk to McGuire says, these boards need to make these statements. Otherwise, these guys in state Senate and state assembly aren't going to do anything.
Yeah.
Got to give them some backbone.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to touch base with them again.
Is there a backbone left in this country?
Yes.
Not in the right places. Okay. Next item is under unfinished business is the Brown Act recommendations, which also we've touched on tonight. We did send a letter to the Board of Supervisors requesting some improvements in the language. I have not heard back from them on that. They must be on their lobbyists' desk at the moment.
Well, according to this note from Sean Quincy, who is from the county,
Right.
It says this is an important issue. Your board has already adopted a stance through the legislative platform. Well, that's why I don't see it, because it's just highlighted. So the link isn't showing, but it does on the email. That it would like to see remote participation allowed for advisory bodies. So, apparently we're on board with it. But as I said, it's going to these advisory boards, and this bill is sitting on the desk. And I guess it's an improvement. It may not be perfect. And that's what he did allude to when he was talking to us, that once you get it, then we'll find out what's working, what's not working. We'll tweak that too. So I'm hopeful that 707, the government will sign it, and maybe we can actually, get people from Willow Creek and Garberville and Rupar, whatever.
That would be ideal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next item is new business. And really, the only thing I have that I added to it was consideration of our January meeting, which happens to fall on January 1st. So the chair would entertain any motion at all.
You don't want us to have champagne? Go to Costco and get the Prosecco with the bottles.
That's not good for our image.
Well, no, the 8th.
Or we could cancel. That's what I wanted to consider was
Okay.
either risk. If it was rescheduled for another Thursday in January, it would have to be the third Thursday, because that's when the planning commission usually has their alternative dates.
It would make more sense to cancel that, because then you have two meetings very closely together.
Would you like to make a motion to that effect?
I'll make a
I'll second
motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we cancel January 1st, 2026.
Seconded. Okay.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your hand.
The
Okay.
I mean, I assume, if something between now and January comes up that is really, really critical, You do have the rapid response thing too, but we could obviously change our mind.
We have it November and December.
Yeah, right, that's what I'm saying, so.
Right, it's not cast in stone. Yeah. Okay, are there any other items that the commissioners would like to bring up? It looks like we will have a short meeting this evening. Carol,
I'm just gonna say November 6th, I'll be absent.
you'll be absent? Okay.
Don't forget to vote.
That's right. I'm gonna be working the polls.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If there is nothing else, we will consider the meeting adjourned for the evening. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
Yeah.